talking points. How was the month of May for the sheriff's office?
So the month of May was about on track with before. The sheriff's office generated 32 incident reports compared to 41 the month before. We had 3 criminal arrests, 3 major traffic arrests. That was a little bit, the numbers were down on that from 8 down to 3. Warrants were up 8 from 5. Picked up 8 warrant arrests. DUI stayed about the same. We had 4 DUIs arrests compared to 5 the month before. Paper services, they attempted 88 paper services. It was a pretty high success with 72 civil service papers served. Done another 58 location checks for things like vacation patrol and businesses after hours. We responded to 18 vehicle crashes compared to 20 the month of, I guess, would be April. They was able to apprehend 3 different narcotic arrests compared to 2 the month before, and 1 roadway closure posted on the app. So it's a pretty on track early summer month. So.
Well, that makes me happy that a few of them did go down. Quite a few of them went down. And then the narcotics arrest being one of those that just kind of added itself there. Yep.
So they're still pretty active on those. And like I said, I know recently some of the guys that we have now put on the joined up with the CAT team with Taylorville, and they worked on a couple of those and have some things in the works on it. Additionally, we're excited that after we joined the CAT team to be a part of it, the next step now we've got some guys lined up taking some testing and doing some training on the ERT team, so we can kind of expand that. Additionally, I'm working on a little, if you will, it takes a lot of MOUs, which are, your agreements with other counties. I've recently talked to the Shelby County sheriff over there about maybe implementing a major crimes response team, and it would be more focused solely on investigations.
Gotcha.
So that way, if they have an incident and need, say, to interview 10 people at a bar fight, then they can call in, same as we would be able to pull them resources from other agencies and start working on that. But it's in the works. Just takes a lot of things to get your memorandum of agreement when it comes to, what's the parameters and stuff like that. So
an MOU is an agreement with other counties, in your case here.
Yes.
And it's an intergovernmental agreement, so
yes.
It's probably messy with a lot of paperwork.
Yes.
That's why
yes.
you deal with it, and
yes.
somebody like myself.
Yes. Additionally, so the county provides patrol throughout the entire county, right? We oftentimes help Taylorville Police Department on a backup situation, stuff like that. We have had 2, if you will, villages reach out, and they're in a bind with not having a full-time police force. One of them has never had a full-time police department, being Bullpit. The other one, this has been discussed before up in Mount Auburn, and it never come to fruition. So Kincaid has recently reached out. They're currently without a police department. The county is covering that. And the only problem is, oftentimes we're operating the whole county with 2 deputies. And so it makes it tough to dedicate hours to that location.
Oh, yeah.
And what we have recently drafted is an MOU with the village of Kincaid, to where they will now be paying deputies, if you will, after or before their shift to come over and put some hours in as a dedicated full-time service over there as an interim until they get something figured out. So
Gotcha.
A lot of things going on there, but that falls in with the MOU that basically, we would be putting someone over there per hours to basically have a police presence more often.
It sounds to me like a good thing, though.
Yes,
Yeah.
it is. We are responsible for responding over there, but we're also responding to the rest of the county. And when you operate with 2 guys, it's hard to go over for one guy to sit in Kincaid for 2 and 3 hours at a time. So they're willing to pay maybe a couple hours before a guy goes to shift on midnights, or maybe he works day shift and he would then go over there and hang out when I say hang out, drive around, patrol for a couple hours post his shift. That would basically be something that, we've got the responsibility right now that if an incident happens, say a domestic, we will respond. But once we're finished with that call, we typically have the rest of the county patrol. This would basically free up some of that and put some dedicated services over there.
And I think, obviously it's a small community, a small village or town, whatever, however. But you got to have something more dedicated to them. I love that in terms of even just 3 hours scheduling wise. And
I failed to mention Bullpit wants to do the same thing. They're its own entity. They want to, go over and have us be just, and it's Bullpit being smaller. It's less hours per month, but they still want that presence there. So we're going to start incorporating that, and the hours will be all mixed up. So there's not a pattern, and we're just going to be there providing extra service. And we do that for no different than it's almost like an agreement that we have with the county fairgrounds. Okay. They pay for full-time presence as well as dirt riders for their big events. And like I said, we're just going to see if we can't dedicate some hours that way.
Interesting. So MOUs, be on the lookout for additional information coming out on that with other counties and villages as well. Yep. Let's get into the summer months then, because we're almost there.
Yes.
So summer safety here in Christian County, with all the fairs, festivals, and everything going on, and now the 4th of July and fireworks right around the corner too. What would you like to share about summer safety?
Yeah. So, every month we try and find a topic that fits the season or the events going on. And, not only summer safety, but summer travel, vacation, things like that. Whenever we get into those seasons and we have things just as simple as a carnival or the state fair or the county fair, just like to remind parents that, when you go and you let your kids with a group to go have fun, one of the things that we call it best practice. One of your best practices probably to go ahead and designate a meeting place, a meeting time. Maybe it's every other hour or whatever they decide. Additionally, it's always a good practice to pay real close attention to what was the last known thing they were wearing. Oftentimes, the easiest way to do that is just take a quick photo. That way, if a child goes missing, and a lot of times, they're just up to kid stuff and they miss that check-in. But when we go looking for them, if you've got a photo to say, hey, this is what Johnny was wearing, it's easier for us to get that out there and show people. So it's a good idea to take that photo. The carnivals and fairs, you want them to have fun, but we also want to be able to be, safety and reuniting in mind on that. So then we roll into, it is fireworks season. And when we get into fireworks, there's always that thing that it's best to just go watch the fireworks. But we also know people are going to go, buy fireworks and try and do that for family fun. Some of the things that I've followed up on, every year nationwide, there's so many injuries that happen because of fireworks, and it leaves, permanent disfigurement, scars, stuff like that. And it's just mishaps with fireworks. And just some of the safety ideas out there, you want to make sure that you keep a fire extinguisher. If you're going to go ahead and do those fireworks, then you want to have a fire extinguisher or water on hand. Be mindful of your surroundings. And have it in an area that you don't have to worry about a fire taking place. The biggest thing is, adult supervision. It comes down to, we all get there, we're having fun at a picnic, kids has got sparklers. Maybe the 10-year-old's comfortable at lighting a sparkler and you letting them, use a sparkler. Just remember that sparkler burns at 12,000 degrees Fahrenheit, and it's going to basically burn the skin if it actually bumps another child. It's always a good idea. Put a layer, a cotton glove on, or some type of glove to let the child hold the sparkler, or affix it to some type of clamp, something like that, so it's not directly right above their hand. And be mindful that although you're letting somebody that you think is old enough to do it responsibly, don't let the 5-year-old be there because they're going to be excited and try and want to do the same thing. So it's just safety reminders that most parents are going to know, but it's a reminder. They don't want to get into that to where they're getting burnt unintentionally. It is pool season, summertime with that. Done a little bit of research, and a lot of this that I come up with just, through past experience or through, you can research it on the American Red Cross's website. There's a load of information out there for that. But water safety, you want to prevent that unsupervised water access, at the lake lots or at somebody's pool, and you want to talk to the kids about it. Something I thought was unique that I seen the term water watcher. It's a good idea to designate a water watcher. We get to talking and we're talking, at a picnic or at a cookout, and people just think the husband's watching the child and the husband thinks the wife's watching the child. You want to designate a watcher, keep an eye on those kids, and just don't let anything happen. It's a good idea to make sure that they take swim lessons. I'm sure the Taylorville Park District here offers that. That would be a good safety tip for that to take place.
And you think about fireworks, summer season, water safety, and it might sound like things that, I know that. I know to keep my kids safe, but it is nice to have that reminder. And one thing that you mentioned as well, when it came to the fairs, stuck out to me. Best practice, meeting place, time, pay attention to that last thing that was being worn, or maybe even take a photo just to get that help if you need that help to locate little Johnny, as mentioned. So joining us in studio today, Chief Deputy Jim Baker of the Christian County Sheriff's Office. We'll take a quick 3-minute break, and we'll be right back around to talk more safety and how to kick off the summer the right way while still having fun. You're listening to WTIM, your information station.
Your information station, WTIM.
WTIM, your ag information station on AM, FM, and streamed at TaylorvilleDailyNews.com and Cruise at 98.3 WSVZ are proud to bring you live coverage of the Moultrie Sullivan Junior Fair this Friday. Our exclusive supporting sponsor is Heritage Woods of Sullivan, affordable assisted lifestyle community for the older adult. Join us during WTIM's Noon Farm Show from 12:20 to 12:35 and on WSVZ from 1 to 2 p.m. for live interviews with 4-H'ers and fair organizers, all sponsored by Heritage Woods of Sullivan.
When it comes to connecting with America's farmers and ranchers, nothing beats the authentic voice of Ag Radio. Farm broadcasters have been the voice of rural America since 1944, building trusted relationships with agricultural producers across generations. Today, the network of over 140 ag radio stations reaches farmers and ranchers during their most productive hours when they're actively working their operations and making business decisions. What makes ag radio uniquely effective? Farmers listen to farm broadcasters for information that directly impacts their livelihood. When your message is delivered alongside crucial weather updates, market reports, and agricultural news, it receives the same attention and credibility. Farm Radio Connects offers agricultural advertisers targeted access to this engaged audience through professionals who understand both broadcasting and agriculture. According to the National Association of Farm Broadcasting, 78% of farmers consider information from farm broadcasters highly trustworthy. When you need to reach rural America effectively, choose the voices they already trust. Visit IllinoisFarmRadio.com and discover how Ag Radio can elevate your agricultural marketing strategy.
Kimmer Village, Inc. is hiring for our future Assumption Community Child Care Center. This is Shala Snagel, Executive Director for Kimmer Village, Inc.
This is Amanda McKay, Director of Human Resources. If you're looking for a career with full benefits, paid meals, qualify for student loan forgiveness, we support continuing education, and if you want to make a difference in a child's life, apply at kimmervillage.org and click Join Our Team.
Hi everyone, Nicole Patrick here, your local country financial representative at 1305 West Bresser in Taylorville. I'm proud to recognize the Tornado student athletes that represent our community by being the exclusive sponsor of the WTIM Nicole Patrick Country Financial Player of the Game. During Tornado Sports broadcasts this school year, WTIM announcers will select a player at the end of each game who will receive a certificate for being named our Player of the Game. Good luck to all the teams this season, and go Tornadoes!
Whether coming from a hospital stay or just need a little help, Taylorville Care Center's personalized therapy program can get you up and going. Find out more by clicking their icon at TaylorvilleDailyNews.com.
I'm Taylorville School Superintendent Brandy Bruley. Our schools promote student success because Taylorville schools are A+. Find out the many opportunities for your student by clicking our icon at TaylorvilleDailyNews.com.
WTIM.
You're listening to WTIM, your information station, and our morning show. It's brought to you by People's Bank and Trust, where they put people first, and Landmark of Taylorville. I'm your host, Grayson Bauman. Joining us back around in this segment, Chief Deputy Jim Baker of the Christian County Sheriff's Office. We've been talking safety this summer, and we'd like to continue where we left off. Jim, a little bit about beach safety, kind of coinciding with the water safety we were touching on.
Yep. There again, just best practice and being mindful. A lot of it you may think, but just hearing it again is a reminder. A lot of times in the summer, we've got summer travel. When you get into that summer travel, keep in mind for those that's traveling to the beach for the first time. I know we've got a couple small beaches that this directly wouldn't affect, but any beach you would want to watch your weather. First sign of lightning or thunder, you want to get out of the water. Protect yourself when it comes into unknown waters. You don't want to dive head first, walk in slowly to avoid stuff. At big beaches, the oceans, watch out for your aquatic life, and you don't want that to ruin your trip. Riptide currents, there's a lot of information out there. Just be mindful that if you're here and you're taking a summer vacation and you're in an area that's got riptides, there's a way that you want to swim, parallel to it and not with it to get you out of there. Traveling, the summer safety, camping, first thing to think of. It's a good idea to make sure that you've got your first aid, in there. Let your family members know where you're going, especially if it's camping off trail. That's something that you want to be mindful of. Let them know the trailhead you left at, where you're going, stuff like that, just so we get you home back safely. Summertime's cookout season. You want to be the cookout. We respond, fire department, and the sheriff's office has responded through the years to numerous propane mishaps, cooking out on the grill too close, kids touching the hot grill, stuff like that. Health department would be more this for their forte, but there again, I just wanted to provide some information for safety in the summer. You can get that information off the Red Cross, but there's things like food temperature, having a thermometer, keeping stuff chilled, a lot of common sense stuff, but just a reminder, be careful of that.
And it's all fair, and don't melt your siding this summer.
Yes.
I've seen that quite a few times. So
yep.
Better than your house going, but
yep.
Don't melt your siding this summer. You got a project on your hands after that. And with the camping safety, probably some things I could improve on there on my end. So I appreciate that. I wanted to leave some time for us here at the end, but I want to make sure safety wise, do we feel like we've covered most of our bases?
Yeah, I think safety wise, we've covered most of it. Hope everybody has a safe, fun summer. When it comes to safety, like I tell you, that people ask, how does the sheriff's office get safety tips, concerns, scams out there? I'm going to refer them to the Christian County Sheriff's app. They can get that at the mobile device. On that, on their mobile device, it's going to give you weather updates as well as any information that I think of. Stuff like this gets posted for a review or a reminder. But other than that, at the sheriff's office, we are always on the lookout. Always hire. We currently have a multitude of openings. We are getting ready to launch another hiring process for a vacant position we have for a deputy. But most importantly, right now we've got openings for correction officers and dispatchers as well. They can drop off. They can go online to the Christian County Courthouse website, get an application, or they can stop by 214 Market Street or 301 Franklin Street to get an application if it's something where they would be interested in a career in corrections, dispatch, or even discuss the future idea of a deputy.
I appreciate us being able to squeeze that in. Jim Baker, Chief Deputy of the Christian County Sheriff's Office, joining us in studio. Jim, always good to see you, sir. Yes. And you're listening to WTIM, your information station, in our morning show, brought to you by People's Bank and Trust and Landmark of Taylorville.
For a missile strike, heavily damaged southern Israel's main hospital, blowing out windows, setting the roof on fire. A high-rise apartment building in Tel Aviv was also hit, along with other sites in central Israel. Scores of people injured. Israel